Hey everyone, Piano Man Chuck here. This is the Kawai VPC1. You've seen me do previous videos on it, including reviews and comparisons with other manufacturers for triple sensor technology. I've had this piano now for about a month, actually maybe a little bit more. I've spent at least 20 hours a week with it. That gives me about 80 hours, so I'm pretty much familiar with this piano to the point that I can give a final or follow-up review to the first one and give you my conclusions. Now, I'm going to give you the good things that I really like about it. I'm going to give you some suggestions for what I'd like to see happen in the future and some suggestions that might be implemented right away or could be implemented right away, as well as things that I don't like about it. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, you see that I have a computer keyboard on here. It's wireless, and the same thing with a mouse. So I got a really nice surface here. It's flat. I don't have controls, buttons, knobs, sliders, switches, none of that to distract from anything. So I've actually even put another keyboard on this. You can put just about anything on this. So, I mean, this is great. You don't have anything like that in any other keyboard. So I love that. The other thing is it has quiet keys. You know what? Let me turn down the volume here for a quick second and show you. Go ahead and try that with any other keyboard that you have. You know, if you could somehow disconnect the strings from a piano and play the action or the keyboard on a real acoustic piano, it would be noisy. This one's pretty quiet. It's the quietest I've ever tried. So another plus. Thank you, Kawai, for that. That is perfect. Now, of course, it has the customized touch velocity settings. That's great for everybody. For me personally, I like what it is right out of the box. Like most people, the normal default setting works great for me. And one of the best things is I don't have to plug this into anything. I don't need to have it plugged into an AC wall outlet for power because it gets its power from the USB cable, which also transmits MIDI over that USB cable as well. So that is an added benefit because another thing this could be used for that most people don't even think of is for you creative types out there. You can take this board and if you had the means, you could take it up to the mountains or to a forest or to a river, wherever you want to take it, even to your backyard or a balcony. I mean, you get more creative when you're out in nature. You can take this board out in nature, and for a lot of people that are currently using notebook or laptop computers for their sound source, for their virtual piano, that runs on batteries. You just hook up the USB cable, and between the two of them, now you've got power to the Kawai. You've got your USB running through your laptop or your notebook. You can have a DAW or digital audio workstation running so that you can record your performance. You don't even need to have power. I mean, you get your power from your computer. You hook up some headphones, you're out there in nature, and it is fantastic. In fact, you can throw a party, or if a friend is throwing a party, you can bring this with you along with a notebook or a laptop that runs on batteries and bring Roland KC110 stereo keyboard amp, gives you 30 watts of power, actually 20 when it runs on batteries, or one of the more powerful PAs that give you a few hundred watts of power that run on lead acid batteries. So that is a definite plus. It's something that most people don't stop to think about. So the other thing, if I had to describe this in one word, butter. It's like butter. It's so much control, so expressive. The only thing I can think of to give you an analogy, you're in rush hour traffic. If you're driving something like a Pinto or some old pickup truck or something, yeah, it's going to get to you. But if you're driving, say, I've never driven a Rolls Royce or anything, but the best car I've driven is one of these really pricey Lexus cars. If you're sitting in one of those really nice Lexus, or I'm sure the Mercedes and Infiniti and some of these other manufacturers are the same, you're sitting in one of those, it doesn't matter if you're in traffic. You are in comfort. It's like a glove. That's what this is like, if I had to compare. Now, the other thing this is great for, now I've got a Nord Stage 2. It's got a great Fazioli piano on it, and I just love that piano sample on it. But playing it on that, like I said before in the first initial review, it's not the same as playing something on this. You MIDI it up to that, and now I've got much more control of that Fazioli piano than I ever had with the Nord. I have better expression, and to give you... It's funny because some of the other piano works that I've done, original compositions, I went and replayed that on this, and I found that I can have much more expression with that playing on this than I ever had on some of the other boards that I actually came up with the creation with. It's now a much better works, a much better musical work. And the last thing about the good things that can be said about this is this can actually be customized to be even better by a company called Ravensworks. It's kind of a offshoot of, it's actually the Ravenscroft piano people have created another company called Ravensworks. That's their digital division. I will get into that in another video soon so that you'll know all about what I'm talking about. Now, for the negatives, let me clear this. For the negatives, this is supposed to be an illusion that makes you feel that you are sitting at a real grand piano. The action is like a grand piano. In fact, it's better than many of the grand pianos I've played. And it looks like you are not sitting at a piece of electronics here. So the whole idea here is to complete the illusion that you are sitting here at a acoustic instrument and not a electronic or digital instrument. That being the case, the one negative, one of two actually, the one negative that I really have a problem with is I take that to a level where I feel like I'm not playing an acoustic piano. I can't really complete that feeling because I am seeing wires here. I see the cables being plugged in for the pedals and for the USB port. And if I was controlling another digital instrument via MIDI, I'd have to hook up the AC power. These are cables I'm seeing here, folks. This is supposed to be an illusion, and it just kind of negates that illusion when you see those cables. So, even when you hook up the music stand, the music rest, and you put music on it, you can still see the cables. Now, I don't understand why they did that, because this thing is so high, they could have easily moved the jacks down below. That way I don't see anything. So that's my one major gripe with this, because everything else is so perfect with this illusion. The other negative, which is not so much of a negative, and again, let me go back to the fact that on my Nord Stage 2, I have a triple pedal, which looks a lot like the triple pedal that you get with the Kawai. But they only take up one jack, and that one jack handles all three pedal functions. They've broken it up into two jacks here. I don't know why they've done that. I'm sure they have their reasons, but it would have been nice to only have one jack take up the space here and not run two separate cables. That would be one less cable I'm looking at, unless they rerouted or moved the cable inputs down below where they're out of sight. So those are my negatives. Now, as far as the improvements, if they ever could come out with a VPC2, they have another kind of action out here called the Grande Feel, or GF. And my understanding is it's pretty much the same as this. The pivot point has been moved back a little bit more. So you get that seesaw action like you have here, but it's a little more prominent. So when you play more into a note instead of at the end, that gives you a little bit more control. Other than that, you probably won't notice much of a difference. Okay? The other thing is I would really like to see splits. Now they have an editor which now works on Apple Mac, by the way. So it works on Apple Mac and it works on Windows. I would love to be able to take that editor and see an improved functionality with that where I can set a split or a split point, because as it is right now, the Ravenscroft is what I'm playing on this, but I would love to be able to play just the Ravenscroft on the bottom portion to just maybe a little bit above middle C and have a Fazioli above that for its crystal clarity. It would be great to mix those two pianos, and I could do that with a split point, saying send the bottom half to this MIDI output and the top half to MIDI output number 2 or whatever. And I guess I can still do it, but it's going to take a lot more work, but that would be nice. So that's another suggestion. Splits. And another suggestion, which could probably be done right away, is they already have these rests here for a music stand, and instead of giving you this really nice metal black stand, which certainly serves its function, it would be nice to take something else like a wood stand that hooks into here and gives you the entire back. So now you have a backdrop here and maybe something that comes down a little more to cover up those wires. So that is my synopsis for the Kawai VPC1. I really, there's nothing more that I can say to sing its praises. It's really top notch. Piano Man Chuck, peace out. Thanks for watching.